Princeton University Press Audio presents The Fire is Upon Us, James Baldwin, William F. Buckley Jr., and the Debate Over Race in America, by Nicholas Buccola, read by Prentice Onayemi. This book is dedicated to my mom and dad, whose love seems limitless, and to Mark E. Kahn, 1947 to 2016, and Scott B. Smith, 1963 to 2017, who taught me so much about teaching, scholarship, and friendship. The white community in the South is entitled to take such measures as are necessary to prevail, politically and culturally, because, for the time being, it is the advanced race. William F. Buckley Jr., Why the South Must Prevail, 1957. Interviewer: In The Fire Next Time, you talk about a people being led to their doom by an attitude of mind. What do you say now about the fire? James Baldwin: The fire is upon us. James Baldwin, interviewed by John Hall, Transatlantic Review, 1970. Prologue. On the evening of February 18, 1965, the Cambridge Union was abuzz with excitement. The debating hall of the Union, which was modeled after the British House of Commons, was packed with more than 700 people. Students and guests at the idyllic campus of the University of Cambridge filled every spot available on the benches and in the galleries, and still more sat in the aisles and on the floor. As the world's oldest and most prestigious debating society, the Cambridge Union had often been the site of public attention, but this evening had the promise of something extraordinary. Just a few days earlier, the Union had marked its 150th anniversary with an event that featured the Archbishop of Canterbury and several members of Parliament, but the energy in the air on this night was different. The people in the debating hall of the Union sensed that they were about to witness an intellectual clash for the ages. As the crowd poured in, the space became hotter, stuffier, and further in violation of the fire code. More than 45 minutes before the official start time of the debate, Union officials had to set up crash barriers to prevent more people from entering the debating hall. Once the barriers were in place, an overflow audience of more than 500 people dispersed to other rooms on the Union premises in order to watch the proceedings on closed-circuit televisions. The British Broadcasting Corporation, BBC, was on hand to record the event, and the BBC commentator, a Conservative member of Parliament named Norman St. John Steevis, reported that, in all the years he had known the Union, he had been a member when he was a student at Cambridge decades earlier, he had never seen it so well attended. At approximately 8:45 p.m., Union President Peter Fullerton, an undergraduate studying history, emerged through the doors of the hall to lead the debaters to their seats. Behind Fullerton were two student debaters, David Haycock and Jeremy Burford, and the two guest debaters for the evening, James Baldwin and William F. Buckley Jr. Both guests of honor were about 40 years old. Both were American, and both had risen to prominence as writers, but that was about all they had in common. Baldwin was the grandson of slaves and had risen from the Harlem ghetto to become one of the world's most famous writers. He was, in the words of his friend Malcolm X, the poet of the Civil Rights Revolution, the leading literary voice of the movement that was, at that very moment, engaged in a struggle to radically alter the nature of American society. Baldwin believed that the soul of the country was desperately in need of redemption, and he had devoted his voice and pen to hasten the nation's deliverance. Buckley may as well have been from another planet. He was born into immense wealth and emerged from his elite upbringing to become one of the country's leading conservative polemicists. Through his National Review magazine, his thrice-weekly newspaper column, and frequent appearances on radio, television, and a lecture circuit, Buckley spread his conservative message. At the heart of that message was the belief that American society was basically good, and that it was the sacred duty of conservatives to defend it from any ideas, personalities, or movements that were deemed threats to it. In the years prior to their meeting at Cambridge, Buckley had made it entirely clear that he viewed Baldwin and the movement he represented as subversive to everything that made America great. As Baldwin and Buckley walked up the aisle to their seats, the students in the debating hall of the Union were probably struck by more superficial differences between the two men. Baldwin was, in the words of his friend Maya Angelou, built like a dancer, standing only 5 foot
Sample complete. Ready to continue?